Chapter 5, India, Agriculture, Industry and Transportation, Part 1. Chapter 5, India, Agriculture, Industry and Transportation. India is an agricultural country. About 70% of people are engaged in agricultural activities. The prosperity of the country is based on the development of agriculture. Different types of crops are grown in India. Crops grown are useful either for food or for industry. Agriculture has progressed by leap and bounds after independence. Now, India is guiding the developing nations in industrial technology. So, we are going to study this chapter of India, and we'll be study about the agriculture, industry, and transportation that has been growing in India. And in the first paragraph that I have read it right now says that the 70% of the India's population is engaged into the agricultural activity, and with the passage of time after independence the progress in the agriculture has been developed a lot. It also says that the crops that are grown uh, are either used as a food product or for industry as a raw product. The prosperity of the country is also based on the development of the agriculture. So, in this chapter, we are going to see how India has progressed in agriculture, industry, and transportation. Dear students, you have already studied about Gujarat's agriculture, industry, and transportation in Standard 6. Now, you will study about the agriculture in India. So, they have already said that the basic information about the agricultural, industrial, and the transportation is being given to you in the grade 6, and we will be studying further more in this chapter. Write the crops grown in Gujarat. So in Gujarat we are very famous for the production of tobacco. We are very famous for the production of groundnut, then corn. Okay, so bajra, juwar. These are the basic crops that are grown in Gujarat. Right, the industries of Gujarat. So in the Gujarat, the cottage industry is the main industry of the Gujarat. It has been flourishing like anything. Then heavy industries are also been developing in Gujarat, and we have cement industry also that has been developing in Gujarat. Many more industries will be seen in this chapter later on. Let's move ahead. So agriculture in India, so they have bifurcated it normal or unirrigated agriculture. So let's understand what is normal. So normal agriculture is an agriculture which is dependent upon the monsoon, and unirrigated agriculture, the crops are as follows. So where the unirrigated agriculture, the crops are being given as follows. The agriculture which is dependent on monsoon is called the normal or unirrigated agriculture. The crops are as follows. Sorghum, that is millet. Millet are grown in an arid region. Arid region means what? Where there is a scarcity of water. There is a scantiness of water or a scarcity of water. Sorghum is grown in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. So this particular crop is been grown in this region. So now, children, you will be having lot of this data in this chapter. So you have to remember all this data because this is also one of the chapter that will be coming in your examination which you have on 29th. So you have to remember which crop is being grown, which industry is there in which state, and all these things in detail. So remember all this data very carefully. Millet. Millet is grown in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh. Rajasthan is the largest producer of bajra in India. So millet is grown, that is when bajra has been grown in these states, and Rajasthan is the largest producer of bajra in India. Please learn this map very carefully because it says that millet, corn, groundnut, wheat, and all these agriculture products are being grown in which state, and who is the largest producing state of the particular thing. Corn is used as a grain and as a fodder for animal. It is mainly grown in Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. So it is also eaten by an human being and also used as a fodder. Fodder means food for the animals, and these are grown in these states. Groundnut required less rain to grow. Gujarat is the leading producer of a groundnut in India. It is also grown in Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra. 50% of the edible oil is extracted from the groundnut. So, groundnut required less water for the um, agriculture, and Gujarat is a highest producer of the groundnut, and it is also been grown in the states which has been mentioned over here. And we take out the edible oil. Edible oil means खाने का जो तेल होता है वो सिंग तेल, which we call in Gujarati. So it has been extracted, 50% of the oil has been extracted from the groundnut. Dry farming. During the monsoon season, water is collected in low-lying areas. Dry farming is practiced in such area. Wheat grows well in such areas. So what is dry farming? Dry farming means the when monsoon water is collected in a low-lying area, and the same water which has been collected in a low-lying area is being used for the farming. So such farming is known as dry farming, and in such type of dry farming, wheat is one of the agricultural product which grows very well. Irrigation farming. What is irrigation farming? The land where farm is done through irrigation. That means they have a facility of water, wells, lake, canals, etc. It is called an irrigation farming. In India, 30% of the land irrigation farming is carried out. So only 30% of the farming is done on the irrigation, rest other methodologies are being used for the farming. Moving ahead, India is a leading producer of a sugarcane in the world. Hot and the humid climate is favorable for sugarcane. Sugarcane is grown in Punjab, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Haryana and Tamil Nadu. So India is the largest producer of the sugarcane, and the climatic condition of India, which is hot and humid in nature, is favorable for the sugarcane. And these are the state Punjab, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh. They are the producers, main producers of the sugarcane. Moving ahead, cotton. Cotton crop takes 6 to 8 months to get ready. The sky should be clear when it is harvested. It is mainly grown in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana and Punjab. So how much is the time duration for the cotton to get ready? It's a duration of 6 to 8 months. And uh, mm, when we harvest, that means when we take the crop out, when we harvest it, the sky should be clear. Monsoons or windiness or the sky should not be cloudy in nature, otherwise the cotton crop get affected. Jute. Jute crop takes 10 to 8 months to get ready. The harvested stem of the jute fiber is first tied together and soaked in a water to soften. The fibers are then stripped from the stalks in the long strands and washed in a clean running water. Then they are hung up on a spread on the uh, thatched roof to dry. Jute is grown in West Bengal, Assam, Bihar and Odisha. So now the jute crops takes 8 to 10 months, and when it is been harvested, it has a long process for the final product to come out. So it takes 8 to 10 months to get ready, and when this jute fiber is been harvested, it is been tied together, then it is been soaked in the water, then the fibers and the stripes of the jute crops from the stalk मेड अ लॉन्ग स्ट्रैंड. स्ट्रैंड मीन्स इसकी गट्टियाँ बना बना के इसको पहले धोया जाता है रनिंग वाटर में, फिर इसकी गड्डियों को हैंग किया जाता है. हैंग करने के बाद इसका पानी निकल जाने के बाद उसे स्प्रेड किया जाता है ऑन अ रूफ टू ड्राई अप. ओके, सो इट हैज़ अ लॉन्ग 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 प्रोसेस फॉर द फाइनल product. Paddy. Paddy is an important crop of India. It is the staple diet of the most of the Indians. It is grown in West Bengal, Bihar, Punjab, Assam, Madhya Pradesh, उड़ीसा, केरला, तमिलनाडु एंड गुजरात. ये बहुत सारे स्टेट्स का स्टेपल डाइट है और ये ग्रो किया जाता है इन दिए गए स्टेट्स में. Children, according to the crop, please learn the states where they are grown. Moving ahead. plantation. When certain crops are grown in the garden method and taken care of as a garden, it is called a plantation. So when a particular crop is grown in a particular place and the methodology for growing that crop and care that is been taken for that crop in a form of gardening nature, such crops are known as a is called such methodology of farming is called as a plantation. It includes tea, coffee, fruit, orchids, vegetable, coconut, plums, etc. So when the crop is being taken care in a form of a gardening method, such crops are known as a plantation crop, or such form of farming is known as a plantation farming. So tea is grown in slopes of mountain where the forests are cleared. After logging near the roots of the tree plant, it's harmful for the plantation. That is why it is grown on the mountain slope. Assam produce maximum tea. Besides Assam, tea is being produced in West Bengal, Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. So the tea is always grown on an area, grown in an area which is slopy in nature. If it is grown on a plain land and the water logging take place, water logging means water इकट्ठा हो जाएगा उस जगह पे, so it is harmful for that crop. So it is seen that tea is always planted in a slopy area where water logging cannot take place, and Assam is the highest producer of it. But besides Assam, West Bengal, Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu are also producing tea. Now moving ahead, we are going to the irrigation. Monsoon in India is irregular and uncertain. Most of the states experience scanty rainfall for a short period of time. Due to uncertainty rainfall, more than one crop is rarely grown on an entire portion of land. Hence, to increase agriculture production, irrigation is necessary. So, in India, monsoon is very irregular. Many places faces scarcity or scantiness of water, and it becomes next to impossible to take more than one crop on any of the land. But to increase the speed of the agricultural product and to have a more crop in a same land in an year, we should have a good irrigation facility, that means a water facility. Children, you should also read these things to know. These are very interesting facts given over here. Industries. Industries are classified into three types on the basis of investment, number of employees, and a quantity of production. Hold on. So, industry are classified on various things, but the three main bases or the pillars of industry to classify is the amount that you have used or invested in opening that industry, number of employees that are number of employees that are working in that industry, and quantity of the production that is being produced in this industry. So पैसा कितना खर्च किया गया है इंडस्ट्री को बांधने में, एम्प्लॉयज़ कितने काम कर रहे हैं इंडस्ट्री में, और इंडस्ट्री का फाइनल प्रोडक्ट का क्वांटिटी कितना है, डिसाइड्स द टाइप ऑफ इंडस्ट्री. So we have basically cottage industry, small scale industry, and heavy industry. So cottage industry. So cottage industry क्या है? When people make things at home in which investment is very low, like incenses, sticks, papad, furniture, pickle, etc. is called cottage industry. So cottage industry is basically an industry which runs from the home in which investment is very low. अगरबत्ती बनाने की फैक्ट्री, पापड़ फैक्ट्री, पिकल फैक्ट्री, फर्नीचर फैक्ट्री. So all these things comes under the cottage industry, where the human power is also less, number of people are also required, human power is also less required, quantity produced is also less, and investment is also less. Small scale industry. Small scale industry consists of a factory, some machinery, some workers, and in which investment is more than the cottage industry. So small scale industry is the industry in which there is less amount of machinery, some amount of worker, but more investment in terms than the cottage industry. So cottage industry से थोड़ा ज़्यादा खर्चा, थोड़ी ज़्यादा मशीनरी और थोड़े ज़्यादा वर्कर. सो वैसे ही इसको स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्री बोलते हैं. इन स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्रीज़ में क्या प्रोड्यूस होता है? तो टॉयज़, टीवी, रेफ्रिजरेटर, प्लास्टिक आइटम्स etc. is been produced. Heavy industry. So what is heavy industry? Heavy industries are those industries which are big factories, big machineries and large number of worker work. It requires heavy investment, so it is called heavy industry. ज़्यादा अमाउंट ऑफ पैसा, ज़्यादा अमाउंट ऑफ मशीनरी, ज़्यादा अमाउंट ऑफ लोग काम करने वाले और ज़्यादा अमाउंट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन होने वाला, ऐसी इंडस्ट्री को हेवी इंडस्ट्री बोला जाता है. Includes like iron, steel, motor car, cement, etc. Now also learn this, which in which state which industry is there. Go through this map in detail, because even if I send you the map, this amount of perfection I will not able to give you because it would be all handmade. So learn this map. This is the perfect map for learning which industry is there in which state. Cotton clothes industry. So let's understand the first cotton clothes industry. It is required to make cotton clothes. What is required to make cotton clothes? Obviously the cotton. The cultivation of which crop lead to the development of the cotton industry? So the cultivation of cotton crop. The textile industry, the cotton textile industry has developed in India in Ahmedabad, Surat, Mumbai and Coimbatore. So it says that the कॉटन टेक्सटाइल मीन्स क्या? कॉटन का कपड़ा बनाने की जो इंडस्ट्रीज़ है वो अहमदाबाद, सूरत, मुंबई एंड कोयम्बतूर में ज़्यादा है. वुलन इंडस्ट्री. सो वुलन गारमेंट्स कहाँ ज़्यादा बनते हैं? इंडस्ट्री वॉज स्टार्टेड एज अ कॉटेज इंडस्ट्री एंड नाउ इट हैज़ डेवलप्ड इनटू अ इम्पॉर्टेंट बिग इंडस्ट्री. सो पहले ये कॉटेज इंडस्ट्री था, मतलब घर में बूढ़ी दादी माँ या फिर मम्मियाँ को अपने हाथ से स्वेटर्स बनाते थे एंड बेचते थे, तो वो स्मॉल स्केल मतलब बहुत कॉटेज इंडस्ट्री टाइप था. पर अब ये इंडस्ट्री अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा इंडस्ट्री बन गया है and it has developed in Punjab and the main center is Ludhiana. Maharashtra and Gujarat is also there, where Jamnagar, Ahmedabad and Haryana may woolen industries have flourished a lot.